That is ridiculous. I'm going to wait forever for that phone to sort that out. It's quicker to record it on an iPhone and just stick it on YouTube. Now, I've got to walk really quickly so I don't waste your time. That's the winter garden. Kate's office is there, my office is there. We look out this way across the valley, so it makes sense to have winter things there that have always got some colour in them. So we're not looking out at barren, whatever that is. This would be lovely when it's green, but it ain't. There's no way of doing this quickly here because you have to walk everywhere, right? This is the first Alpine wall I made. I really just wanted this area here to put these trees in, apple, cherry, pear, blah, 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 whatever they are. And I just threw these rocks up here. And then in the garden centre, we spotted these things called Alpines and thought, well, they look weird. They all look like little alien life forms. So we bought a couple. And they absolutely love it here. So they've somehow migrated from there to there. And there, and there, and there. I was amazed that they're down here as well. So these are all, you know, you see how they've just spawned new, whatever they're called, little orphan children things. It makes sense that these limbs, eventually they kind of hang off, they drop off, and then they migrate. I've no idea, right, how, when we planted it, how it went up. I mean, it's... What was that? So there's one in there. Right in there. There's one up there. How did it fall up? It's magical. And kind of one was a bit all sort of bemused by this, and they move all around. So we planted that one. So this was just a big lump of mud all around here. And I've obviously cut these paths in, which go off into the woods. Blah, blah, and all that. And then, what am I talking about? And then out of all these rocks that we got here, I just sort of like placed them just to bolster this edge, not as a supporting wall, but really just to face it and make it look a bit prettier. So we put the Alpines in, and they love it, and I really like them because you don't have to maintain them. They just like tuck in there, and they just lock in. I've no idea how they work. It's possessed. Anyway, I was surprised and admire the things that they managed to go uphill. You know, they managed to move. So there's a lot more here than we actually bought. I think we put in about 6 or 8. But now, clearly, they're all over the place. There's one here growing in the grass, which is quite clever. Look, see that one and that one? They're amazing. You don't maintain them. You just plug them in and off they go. You don't water them. You don't do anything to them. They'll grow in really, really harsh conditions, which is great for me because off you go then, fill up the wall. So that was my first kind of exposure to it. Now, some of these, where I was surprised on how they've migrated, actually, they've migrated up there. They're up there, probably whatever that is, 300 metres or something. I've seen them up there. So I don't know whether or not they produce seeds, and the seeds have ended up being here on this surface, stuck to the quad bike or the trailers and stuff, but somehow they're up there. So the plan next then was I had this sequoia that we're given, a giant redwood. So here I wanted somewhere to plant it. And I wanted it to get as much sun, so the sun comes up here, goes around that way. You can see it's up there at the moment. Goes around and sets over there. So this is a great place to expose this sequoia. Now I thought I killed it in winter because all the leaves fell off of it, and I didn't realise that I thought they were evergreens, like the yew tree behind it. But apparently not, so all the leaves come off. And of course I thought that I'd done something bad, but apparently not, because it's coming back, which is fantastic. So that one day is going to be massive. Now that, what is that? Looks like a birch, I think. I would say silver birch, but I'm not quite sure about that, but I think it's a birch. Or is it ash? All right. No, that's ash. That's birch. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's forfeit anyway. It's not going to stay there. The redwood will get the right of way. The yew behind it won't really care too much. It's slow growing. It's a hardwood. That thing there, that little green blob there, is probably like, I don't know, like 20 years old or something. The one that's up there, see that one? The dark patch in the middle? That's probably about 90 years old, that thing. They're really, really slow growing on a yew. Anyway, wanted somewhere to put the sequoia in. So I just got a few rocks, placed it in. It also gives me a nice little access into the path that goes off into the woods. So same thing, let's take some of the Alpines. She sat on a bramble. That can't be nice. and just moved a couple across here, and we'll just let them go. We'll see what happens. I don't actually like that rock being there. It is actually a funny shaped rock, so it looks like it's sort of teetering on the edge. It's not quite like that, but it looks like it, which annoys me. So yeah, they're in here, and we'll just see what happens now. Oh, there's one now, look. So we do our bit of like, oh, I'm there. Put them in there, see what happens. Right, I've got to walk all the way down here now. It's the problem with having a big garden. I mean, I treat my woods, which is 8 acres of woodlands, like a garden, if I'm honest. So up there's rhododendrons, and I'm trying to encourage laurels to grow underneath the massive beech trees which are up there, and they are massive, those trees. They definitely qualify as massive. They're about 4 foot across at the base, and they're huge. Nothing will grow underneath them because they're toxic. So I'm trying to encourage laurels to grow up at the moment. Rhododendrons we can get to grow, and laurels is the next obvious choice. So I've just planted about 20 of them. So there's our Alpine wall. Of course, I've got that one for the sequoia, and I've got that one there is coming next. So some of the stones I'll show you in a minute are coming up here, and I'll build across here, and then up here and taper it into the slope. And then if I draw a line across the top, that'll be filled in there with topsoil from here and here. I've got a rake coming for the digger, so I go up there, rake all that stuff, take the stones, put the stones to one side, take the topsoil, put it into there. So the digger is, I don't know where digger is, it's here somewhere. So that's why a digger is really useful for doing gardening. And the last thing to talk about here is that slope that goes up to there. We're not looking at there, which I would call the eagle's nest, because that's quite difficult to get to. You've got to go all the way up there and all the way along there and on the footpath to get to there. That's quite difficult, just to go up there and sit on a bit of decking to look at the view over the top of these hills. So I'm building a cuckoo's nest there, like a platform. Decking, telephone poles. I can't walk all the way down here. Yeah, I'm going to make a cuckoo's nest up there. This is really boring, but I'll tell you anyway. This bit of derail that I've put along here is about 45 metres long. It's one of the first things we did when we moved here. We just cleaned up the side of the driveway. And the guy down here was doing building work, and he said, I've got some topsoil, could you mind storing it? And I've got plenty of land. So I was like, yeah, no problem, dump it somewhere. And he brought it up, and I put a little bit down the bottom where I needed it. And when I looked at the quality of the topsoil, I thought, you know what? I'll have that. So I took everything he had, about 30 tons of it. And basically, it's all the way along here, because it was better than the crap that was in here. So we then spent, a few £100 on plants, randomly put them in. Equally, we're not gonna, we don't want to have to weed this, because who likes doing that? So we just kind of let stuff grow. They will come back. They'll come back in about a month or two. You'll see them just pop out and give us a bit of interesting colour and stuff along here, as well as about, 400 daffodils have been plugged in, because we're in Wales. So why not? They'll all pop out at some point. All right, we go right down here, and then we'll start from here. I'm going to turn around in a minute and show you what the new Alpine wall is going to look like. So, cleared this bit of land, stuck a few rocks in here. The Alpines, there's only a couple in here. And the rest of these are cascading things mixed into what looks like a lot of weeds, because there's a lot of weeds. But it doesn't matter. So it was completely filtered out, all of this, sorted out. It's all nice and like fluffy soil and everything. Planted it with some proper plants from the shops, again, really expensive things. So there's probably about, I can't remember, 10, 15 paid for plants, and they get thrown in there, and the rest is up to them. It's up to them and nature to fight it out. So as you can see, that one's lovely. I think that's a cascading one. That should end up just growing down, and well, same here. So this was a lot shallow. It's not going to make an impact here, and we want to grow these across the back just to screen anyone looking in this way. So we start from here. So these pillars we had put in, I didn't do these, and they're a little bit oversized, but they're also made of the same stuff the house is made of. So this is not painted white. This is actually white crystals with white sand and white cement. They're white. So once they're in, you don't have to paint it, same as a house. So once you're here, got at least some sort of defining edge on that side. Now this side, I've just chopped into this whole bank because it was a lot further out this way. It's just messy, and it's full of crap. There's all kinds of rubbish in there. So I've just dug it all out, taken it around there, and it's just hidden around the corner. And then I'm using some of the rocks that I've got, as you can see, just to build up a new Alpine wall. So what I've learnt on that middle wall up there, I'm going to bring it back down here. I quite like this one so far. I think this is interesting. So I don't want it to be clean faced and everything. I want it to have lots and lots of spaces for stuff to grow in. So it's literally going to follow the contour now up about 3 meters. This is not a retaining wall. This is purely just for aesthetic. So I don't have to look at this. So I show you exactly what it looked like before. Is that. You can see it here. Long grass, it's too steep. This is too steep to cut with a lawnmower. It's a pain in the arse, so we kind of just want to let it go, really. And this is what happens. And there's brambles in here, so they just went mad. So I've been able to use the digger now to reach up and take a lot of the bramble roots out. I need to go up and do the hand holding of the brambles at the top there. Do that by hand and let it all fall down here. I don't care if it goes on the rocks. By the time I've built this up 3 meters here, it'll just be loads of rocks and any topsoil come onto it. Yeah, great. It'll just cement them into place. So you can see with this angle, I'm not trying to be retaining. That's not the idea. It's just to face it. And I'm going to come along. And then I think, talking through this yesterday, I'm going to take this corner, right? You can see the area which is naturally gagging for it, like this bit. So what I'll do is come up 3 meters to about here. And then I'm going to taper it in now. And then I'll taper it in parallel to that. So straight along, which is parallel to that, straight along here. Do the same thing with the rocks. Just stack them all up. If they don't look right, it sounds really poor, but I haven't really got a lot of other choice, is I literally just pull it back down and do it again. So where these don't sit nicely and I'm not kind of happy with it aesthetically, then here, take them out. So I've got one of these from a digger, but the hoses aren't long enough. They're on their way to me now, extension ones. Then I can use my to actually pick up the rocks and place them where I want them. Because up above here, any higher than this, and you've got them in a bucket, I could flip the bucket around, I suppose. Pick them up that way. Now, so when you've got a big rock in a bucket, as soon as you sort of drop it, just because the size of the bucket and the size of the rocks, you kind of just, it's so vague. So half the time you drop it on here and it will just roll back down again. So that's the benefit of that grabby thing, which I actually can't remember where it is. I think the grabby thing's up there. Right, so these are just leftover rocks from where I was knocking around before. So there was a few along here, reasonable sized ones. I've used them. Some of these I'll pluck out of here. If I really want more rocks, all I do is get the digger on top of these, move the top stuff out of the way and just dig down through this. If I go down there, I'll be able to pull out some massive rocks. Like that one there. That one there is probably about 3 foot by 3 foot by 12 inches. Which is, I don't know, like 1 metre by 1 metre by 40 centimetres. It's bloody heavy. And so I'd come around with the digger and just, like that one there's a completely different shape to the others. Look, a bit more rounded, it's a bit shorter, a bit thicker. So what I need to do is sort of place these randomly and come round and choose what I want. Sometimes I want big, long, flat ones. That one there's quite a cylindrical shape, look. But it's got quite a good mass to it. So I'm kind of, I don't want to put it up too high. So that might come around and do the side bit where I want to taper it up the drive. So it's nothing more complicated than selecting some of these rocks that I've got and just building a wall. Stick some alpines in it, see what happens. This is the spoil that I've taken out. I've just actually levelled it. Last thing I did, so when I was out here, was just levelled this, tracked it in with the digger, so that I can, if I need to, I can load up the dumper with more stuff, bring it round, dump it here, and then just level it again. Right. I think you're up to date. That is my alpines and one of my many projects. I don't know why I'm going down there. There's a digger and there's a dumper and there's the trap barrow thing which I need to sort out. Yeah, I don't know where the grabby thing is. It must be up the top somewhere. Anyway, you know what it is. One of them Alpine walls. Look alright, wouldn't it? And this is aesthetic. This is not functional. It's really just to set the theme. There's a rock, a big rock there. There's a few visible from there. The white bits here meet the house. The wood, the creosoted wood. That's another theme. Creosoted wood. And the outdoor kitchen, creosoted wood. That's the thing, I like that. I love the smell of the stuff as well in the summer. Once it's dry, not when you're doing it, because it's a bit strong. Creosoted wood, I can't get away from the fact that there's slate here. And if it wasn't very obvious, that's all slate. So having the stones here, having them dotted around randomly like this, apart from the fact the cats sit on them and they're dotted around all the way here. It's the same theme that's carrying through. Slate, 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 you can see there. So, right. Is that it? I think that's it. Do a wheelie. Okay. All right, there we go. Have a nice blue sky today. It's freezing out here. Really is cold. I'm going back in. I got work to do. I've had fresh air. See you in a bit. Later, taters.